Hello, everyone. Am I live? If you are watching, drop some comments. Let me know if you can hear me. I'm experimenting here, kind of watching my phone at the same time to see if it's actually gone live. Anyone? Throw some comments if you can hear me. If anyone's watching, drop some comments below. Okay, looks like we're live. Excellent. Excellent. Thanks, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. I'm experimenting with this new, what do they call it? StreamYard. So just wanted to make sure it actually works. I'll go through your questions as they come in for all two of you watching right now. And hopefully we'll do this once a week. First question from my all-time favorite, Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. Prediction on tomorrow. It's going to be a red wave or blatant election shenanigans or some election canceling event. Good question.
Dad, we could see you on Mom's computer.
That's awesome. Honey, if you're watching this, our daughter joined me for my live stream. Anyways, tomorrow, I think it'll be a red wave, but there's nothing above these politicians. So when it comes to cheating, so I always say trust but verify, and so the people who are really kind of shady about the verification process, that's when I'm like, okay, maybe maybe you're trying to hide something. To the further point, I ask people if they think, obviously, I think the Biden administration is doing some things that exacerbate inflation. But will Republicans change any of that? Potentially. But how do they change $31 trillion in debt? They can't. So I think inflation's here to stay until we have some kind of new money system, in my opinion. But yeah, I do think we're going to have a red wave. I think the average person, the thing that matters the most, more than foreign policy, more than anything else, is the economy. All right. Another question from Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. Thoughts on the 1,200 Facebook employees being let go? I think that's good. I don't think that, these private companies are overstepping. And I did a video on this the other day. They're working with government. That's when it gets really shady. Facebook and a lot of other tech companies went way out on the risk curve. They started investing in headsets and metaverse stuff, and I don't think people are there. And on top of that, I think people were speculating on Facebook. I saw the other day Mark Zuckerberg lost the most wealth ever for any human being. I think he lost $100 billion in a month, I believe. Maybe it was a year. But either way, I think you're seeing with Elon Musk, he fired like a whole bunch of people, and Twitter's running just fine, and they're changing some things around. And do they need all that many people? I don't think so. So private company, they could do what they want unless they're working with government. Another from Princess Consuela Banana Hammock. I do love it. Follow up. If a mustache could stash, how much stash could a mustache stash in ounces of silver? Let's say 45. It's a scientific answer, of course. All right. This one from Isabel Martins. She's a real attractive lady, wouldn't you say? That's my wife. you're live. Thanks, hon. And let's see. I got another question. One more from Peter. Nope, no more. Okay. If any more questions come in, I'll answer those. But I just wanted to test this out, see if this live actually worked. And what did I see the other day? Oh yeah, I saw this today. That I think I'm going to do a video on. The Eurozone came out, and the European Union is coming out with their CBDC, and they before it has even come out, they specifically say how they're going to limit purchasing power with it and limit what you can purchase with it. I'm probably going to do a story on this tomorrow. That's just something to keep in mind. Okay, we got another question here. You guys keep them coming. I love it. Okay, Brent, the milkshake theory guy, tweeted today that government not being able to pay the interest on their short-term 2-year. Must be watching your video. Yeah, I think I saw another tweet from somebody else about that. A lot of people say we can inflate our way out of our debt, but what you need to ask yourself, what goes up with our debt? Our Social Security, our welfare payments, Medicare payments, military. The lion's share of our budget goes up with inflation. And then the one caveat is the interest payments. So I think they're assuming it's going to be anywhere between 1 and 1.4 trillion, depending on when they refinance their debt and what the interest rate is at. And since we're running a $1.5 trillion deficit every year, you can do the math. It's a debt spiral. Yes, honey, I will have your babies. 3 of them, as a matter of fact. It looks like we got some more people coming in. Peter the Squatchy, love the shorts. We all could use some good laughs. Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out my shorts, I I just search people failing on the internet, and then I liken it to the Federal Reserve majority of the time. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, bud. Love you too. I thought my kids were in bed. Turns out they're not. They want to do a cameo. All right. From Florida Rich. He has lost 100 million. Great start. Let's get to work and make sure he loses it all. Did I say billion? Yeah. Yeah, I think, Facebook, I think the free market, if they didn't censor people, Facebook would be great. But as we know, all these big tech companies colluded with government. Whether it was through hook or crook, they colluded with government and they silenced people. And I do think that's why free speech is so important, because the marketplace of ideas, not only are you able to communicate your ideas, you're able to learn. Like oftentimes if somebody calls me out for being wrong, my first instinct isn't always to assume that this person's an idiot. I kind of think through their point of view. That's why free speech is obviously so important. Okay. Shorts make me laugh. Thanks, Melissa. Yeah, kiddos. I got 3, 7, 4, and 2. They're a handful. A lot of fun though. Let's see. Billion, a million. It's almost the same. Yeah, well, not for me, obviously. I'm super rich. But yeah, I think I'd love to know what you guys think about, if you're even on Twitter, but what your thoughts are on Elon Musk taking over. Because my thoughts, Facebook has kind of gone down the wrong path, and I don't think it's really kept up with the times, just for market share. But probably the thing that scared me the most over the last 2 years was private corporations and government working together. And this isn't conspiracy theory. All you got to do is go on the WEF's website and see their sponsors. And it's all these Fortune 500 companies. So obviously, this public-private partnership, if you want to call it that, air quotes, isn't really that. It's kind of like government doing the whole mafia thing. I hate to see your business get investigated by the IRS. All right. Chad, what's up? Thanks for showing up in the chat. The tears fuel you? Yes. The liberal tears. Yeah, I think I try to see a silver lining. A lot of people, that's another part of free speech. A lot of people get into their echo chambers. And I do think some people genuinely know what they're saying is wrong. And yet they say it anyways. For politicians would be those people, but for political gain or whatnot. But then there's other people who are, I think, the useful idiots who don't have they haven't really thought about what the other side has to say. And then when you silence the other side, it's no good. Another one from my wife here wants to know if you think the bank is great. I don't think the banks are great. I guess my son hears me talking about this too much. I got to give my wife a break sometimes because this is kind of my outlet. This is why I started the YouTube channel, is because I talk about it probably too much at home. But see if there's any more questions coming in, and then I'll probably cut it short if we don't have any more. Let me know if you guys like this stuff also after I publish it. I'm going to kind of develop it a little bit more and make it a little more interactive as much as I can. Okay, we got one more here. What do you think of oil markets will do with the Republican win? They're going to cancel all the Biden BS, redrilling, and ramp up supply, kill the price. Okay, so I would be the first to admit that I have started to educate myself on how the oil supply works. We can self-sustain, and there's no doubt that the futures market have a effect on the current price, meaning if they know that more supply isn't coming online in the future, that they're going to raise the price now. I don't know if Biden has to sign off on that, like the Keystone Pipeline and stuff like that. My feeling is states are going to start going a little bit more independent. But ultimately, if you want a greener future, you need fossil fuels. How did they make the windmills, the solar panels, yada, yada, yada. And don't even get me started on what they have to mine to even, like, if we were to just go green overnight, the things that have to be mined just to, I don't even know if we have that supply in the ground, copper, silver, things like that. So I hope they do, but this is one of the things I think people are voting for, whether they know it or not. You see how gas prices are like a election issue, and is the economy stupid? So I hope they do. And I just probably like everybody else here. If somebody says, "Do you want renewable energies?" people would say yes. But there's this whole middle ground where it's like, how sustainable are renewable energies? Can they actually power the grid? Yada yada yada. And from all my research, the future is nuclear, but we don't do that either. Elon is going to get folks used to pay to be verified. All in all, many will want the new system. Yeah, so I think that it's a good thing for people to have a kind of a subscription-based service, because a lot of people tune in, or they'll target advertisers of a business, and a business like the media or Twitter relies on advertising, obviously. So they'll target them, but if it's subscription-based, like the Daily Wire, they're kind of insulated from that. Awesome. Okay, Chad, I've encountered a few of the useful idiots on Reddit. Yeah, Reddit is, I think, more of a cesspool than Twitter. It's bad out there. If you point out what should be consensus reality, they will have a fit, and who knows if they're even real people. But I don't know about you guys, but in normal life, just meeting people at work, people are pretty level-headed. You can have a pretty honest conversation with people in these blue-haired psychopaths, unless you're in Portland, by the way. I've been to Portland many times. That's not the case in Portland, but everywhere else, um, people are pretty normal. Um, and that gives me hope because I've heard Joe Rogan say this before. I thought it was a pretty good point. Let's say you know 100 people in your life. Of those 100 people, you know, three of them, you're like, those people are kind of crazy, right? And so that's 3%. 3% of the United States is, what, math in public, like 9 million. Um, that's a lot of people. And so they can have a fairly big voice on things like social media. Princess Consuela, think you could combine the live AMA with prepared stuff you want to talk about? Yeah, heck yeah. I like that idea. Great idea. Another one from Chad. The price is going to go up because they're emptying the reserve to try and keep the price artificially low. Yeah, that I agree with. I think in November, the price is going to go up. Not to mention, if you look at the differential between diesel and gasoline in your local area, you've seen the price going up. And price is a signal. What's the signal? Either there's too much demand or it's too little supply, but that's what the price signal says. Yeah, and we have been helping out Europe too, and we'll see. We'll see. It's definitely it's complicated. It's complicated, but yes, I think the price is going to go up. Raging Golden Eagle has the format, and I enjoy him. I have to look that up. Is that a YouTube channel? Mining exploration gets my vote. Yeah, especially uranium. There's not a lot of people that mine uranium, and nuclear is the future, my humble opinion. It's very dense. No idea what that is. Shows how stupid I am. You think Newsom will run for president? Yeah, I do. Based off of him like touring the White House and starting to his policies are not very popular with people. And I'll say so a lot of people don't vote. A lot of people don't even care about politics until um the president affects their life. And what is the president doing right now? He is affecting the economy, which is affecting their life. So the people that don't care about politics at all, it's the gas price, it's the groceries going up. It's not these social issues that probably you and I care about and follow a lot. But the problem is a lot of the consequences of these things, like not investing in fossil fuels. We haven't been doing that for 10 years. I don't think we've made a refinery since the 70s. We've not built a refinery since the 70s. And you can't really blame investors. But anyways, we're feeling the consequences now as refineries are at their peak output, yada, yada, yada. But yeah, unfortunately, I think he's going to run. And man, he is just watching him is, yeah, American Psycho for sure. Reddit is AIDS. True that. Where the hell is Colin Powell when you need him? A lot of people thought Colin Powell was a little deep statey, but Chad, considering that the DNC fields blah, 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 primary candidates, is it possible for Newsom to run? I would not be surprised. Yeah, I wouldn't either. Michelle Obama too. Yeah, that's the one I'm like, because despite his policies, Obama is a pretty likable guy on the mic for your average person, whether you like him or not. He's a good orator. and he was popular. So I think Michelle Obama might run as well. There is no bottom to the hunger for power, unfortunately, with these people. I'm long Brent at 88. I hope it runs to 300. You and me both. Okay, Chad. Salted thorium is a reactor type of nuclear, basically impossible to melt it down. What does FTW mean? I think I do. Means for the win. Sorry for the slang. Oh. Colin Powell is dead, actually. You're right. Michelle Obama and Oprah, I could see them. Yeah. Yeah. And these celebrities come out. Oprah came out and she was like, didn't she help Dr. Oz with his career? And she endorsed John Fetterman. So it's kind of like, that's what I don't want to be. Like this loyalty to a party is kind of weird to me. Number one, like you should be loyal to ideas and principles. And if that person in that party isn't following your principles and the ideas, the Constitution, maybe you shouldn't. Let's see. Any more comments? Yeah, I think I reached the end. Which states? Let's see. Which states are the ones to watch tomorrow? Pennsylvania, New York, Michigan. There was another one. Georgia's, I think, a lock. But New York governor's race might swing Republican. But again, what my 2 cents? What have Republicans done? I remember, I think it was Bill Maher back in the day. Because we keep swinging back and forth, but Bill Maher said he was way against the war in Iraq, and people said, "You are not a patriot. How dare you?" And that was mostly Republican politicians saying it at the time. So I think it's kind of a uniparty to some degree. The other party's going to do what'll get them in power, yada yada yada. But the big problems we have today, which is our national debt and the fact that other countries are trying to de-dollarize, how does a Republican help that? He can help with supply, like with oil, if they don't want to shoot themselves in the foot like the Democratic Party is, but they're not going to get us out of the national debt. There's only 2 ways you get out of debt: default, I guess 3, default, or pay it off, and they're not paying it off. So they're going to default through inflation or austerity. Austerity is not happening. It is 100% uniparty. Totally agree. But may I just say, like, something I think about is, and why I like Bitcoin. I know some of you might not like Bitcoin, but gold too. What are the incentives? So with the fiat system, what are the incentives? The incentives are to spend more money, to go into more debt. And then if you're a politician, if there is no ledger that you're accountable to, if you can buy votes from spending more money, from more government spending, why wouldn't you do it? And let's say you have some kind of moral North Star, fine, the next guy will do it. And then the same thing with Congress. Like, hey, if you can get rich from insider trading, and all you got to do is have your husband do it or your son do it, and you're not doing it, it's illegal for you to do it, but your relatives can. Who's not going to do it? And as George Gammon said, that actually attracts, like, if you have those incentives in politics, it actually attracts the psychos. If it was a kind of a low paying, you didn't make connections, you didn't have these speaking fees, like if you were the head of the Treasury or the Federal Reserve, if those incentives didn't exist, people who wanted to be of service, that's why I absolutely hate the term public servant. Are you freaking kidding me? Public servant? What? It bothers me. But as long as the incentives are screwed up, meaning it's possible to get rich legally from being in politics, you're going to have people attracted to it that shouldn't be in politics. We voted today in Cali. Awesome. Congratulations. Way to go. Everyone go and vote. I'm voting tomorrow. Feeling pretty sad at all the options. California's rough. We're screwed and the people don't care. Yeah. I always remember people voted in democratically, voted in Hitler. And a lot of people like to compare everything to Hitler, but just for what happens is you vote somebody in democratically and you're like, ooh. And if they're authoritarian, they're going to do everything they can to break the system that voted them in, because people realize that leftist policies, socialism doesn't work. It doesn't make people prosperous. You can't print oil, can't print energy, yada, yada, yada. Or war. Yeah. So I'd love to know if you guys, the first thing to go in war is truth. And if you didn't know, some of you don't know, I have a history in the military, still serving. None of these ideas are um, those of the DoD, but they're my own. But that being said, war is the thing, yeah, they go to when all else fails. What if, and just me thinking out loud, what if the United States is paying Ukraine and doing this proxy war because Russia wants a new currency system? Look up what Putin has said about the dollar. And if you look at it through his objectives, it depends on what his, if his objective was to take over Ukraine in a month or a week, he's failing. If his objective was to get the world to de-dollarize, he's doing a pretty good job at that. Because he has pocket aces. He's got the energy, and we got currency units that he doesn't care about. On top of that, we froze his dollar assets. So you don't think any other country is looking around and they saw that we just took Russia's dollar assets? And maybe you agree with it, maybe you don't. But other countries look at that and they say, if they can take Russia's dollar assets, maybe they can take ours. So I'm going to start to de-dollarize. I don't think that's going to happen overnight, but it's going to play out maybe over the next decade or two, that countries will look for other currencies. All right, from Chad. You aren't screwed. Just get the F out of California. Yeah, it's not, I do tell people it's not that easy. You know, if you got a family, you got roots there, yada, yada. But yeah, California is, you thought, just when you thought they couldn't get any dumber, just like Dumb and Dumber, they keep doing it. War, exactly. Yeah, I think, see what China does with Taiwan. You saw that we cut off China's ability to make certain chips, basically through the imports either of knowledge or raw materials. The United States did that. And we told all American citizens that were in that industry to basically GTFO. I don't know. It is above my pay grade, but it seems a little suspect. Could be a good thing, but it's definitely cornering them. That's all I can say. Look at most of the options. Most are coming out of socialist schools. If you're talking about, that's the other crazy thing. Like Dan Crenshaw, who's the gal that just left the Democratic Party from Hawaii. She went to the WEF. So there's a lot of, yeah, and then like you're saying, from these schools too. The WEF, World Economic Forum, has these graduates, Justin Trudeau, and they have a lot of impact on schools as well. It's sad. I left school. I was in school for 2 years, and then I joined the military. And I joined because A, I wanted to, but B, school was such an indoctrination center. And I was like, okay, all of my peers are coming to this university because they think it'll make them more money. And me as a millennial, I was kind of in a unique generation because my parents' generation, when they went to school, that differentiated them and it was cheap. And then the baby boomer generation told the millennial generation, hey, you should go to school because it helps you out. So we did. And I was going and I was like, how does reading this book on Shakespeare $3,000 a credit hour, however much it was. It was expensive. Helped me become something. I didn't feel like I was gaining a skill where I could go to business like I can make you more money. Anyways, I thought it was a big waste of my time. Hey, if I want to learn about something, I'll read about it. But it's just memorize, brain dump, and do it all over again. Big business. If not war, will it be hyperinflation or default? No one knows for sure, including me, obviously, but hyperinflation, I don't think is coming anytime soon. If you look at how much currency you have to print to get hyperinflation, it's rather astounding. Now, I will say this. Full faith and trust in the dollar is kind of this ethereal thing. What if a lot of people don't have full faith and trust in the US dollar and it gets more and more and more, and not only United States citizens, but people around the world, because they're having to sell treasuries so they can get dollars to buy their currency. Long story. But how do I think the United States gets out of the debt they're in? Here's the one thing that is top of mind for me. Every other Western country is in this spot too. That's the unique thing. Like how countries have gone through it before, they end up hyperinflating, but every other Western country is in this same spot. So my guess is they're going to value. This is a totally off the wall guess, but they come out with a central bank digital currency. And they say every old dollar is every 10 of the old dollars, 20 of the old dollars is worth one of the central bank digital currency. That's my guess. But defaulting, it means they won't get any more loans. And we've already defaulted twice in the early 20th century when we took everyone's gold, and then when we went off the gold standard in 1971, we defaulted. So could we do it again? And would it look like a default? Like, hey, we can't pay you? I don't think so. I don't think we're ever going to not pay them what we owe them, but we owe them a piece of paper. Easier said than done. We keep trying. Roots are deep. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, it's hard to move. Being in the military, I've moved. I was a military brat too. I've moved like 25 times. And family is the most important thing. So if family is around you, you can deal with a lot of BS just to be near them. Yeah, totally agree with you there, Pete. Yes, in so many groomed, I dropped out after 3 years. Yeah, I think education's awesome, but education and learning aren't the same thing. So when people use a lot of words, you're like, what do you mean by education? Like everyone deserves education. Yeah, I think you're right, but I've learned more on YouTube than I ever learned in college. And maybe you're the same, but I've learned more online than I've ever learned in school because it's a fostered learning environment that is curtailed to you, right? And the lectures in school aren't not so much like that. All right, that looks like our last question for the night. Appreciate you guys tuning in, dropping questions. Next time, yeah, I think I will go through some articles and ideas and get your thoughts as I go through them. Thanks for tuning in, like I said, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.